There was almost no chance he was my alpha, until my baby grabbed his finger and the air revealed a scent bond that shouldn't exist. Part 1, the accidental text. I sent a message meant to save my baby, and it landed in the chat of a man I swore I'd never face again. Nighttime in the city always felt louder when you had nothing left to your name. I sat on the edge of the old wooden floor in my studio apartment, legs folded under me like a kid hiding from the world. A thrift store table lamp glowed beside me. Not fancy, not aesthetic, just enough to keep the dark from swallowing us whole. Kimi, my 9-month-old daughter, slept against my chest, one tiny fist curled in my shirt. She had no idea her Appa was cracking under pressure. Too young to know why my hands shook every time I held her bottle. Too small to understand why my heart felt like it was carrying bills, hunger, and heartbreak on the same damn receipt. The last tin of baby formula sat on the counter, scraped clean hours ago. Just hours earlier, I diluted her milk thinner than the instructions said, praying it'd stretch a little longer. And still, she drank it all. No hesitation, no complaints, just trust. And that trust hit me harder than any punch ever could. I picked up my phone and opened my sister Sarah's chat. "Hey, just wait a little more. Appa will fix this." I typed out a message, voice soft in the silence that filled every corner of the room. "Please, Sarah, Kimmy needs formula. Can you send some money? I don't know what to do anymore." My thumb slipped. The screen lagged for a half second, just enough for disaster to sprint through the gap. The message wasn't sent to Sarah, it was delivered to him. My alpha. The one I had no bond with anymore. The one who slammed the door on our past without looking back. The one who existed in a universe where feelings were optional, but dominance was mandatory. The notification hit his phone. I stared at my screen. 1 check mark? 2 check marks? Delivered. My stomach dropped so hard, I swear I could feel it in my bones. Shoot. No, no, no! No, wrong chat. But it was too late. The message was gone, floating in the digital void between fate and embarrassment. Society treated Omegas like background characters, side quests, pity cases, afterthoughts. A widowed or abandoned Omega without an alpha? That was worse than being invisible. That was being branded a liability. And here I was, a liability who just texted a man who didn't ask to be part of my story anymore. He saw the name. Sarah, money, baby formula. But one detail he definitely caught was Kimi. He never knew about her. And suddenly, a guy who once ghosted emotions was staring at a notification he couldn't explain away. I thought there was only a tiny chance he'd even open the message. I didn't know a text like that could awaken the wolf behind the man. What do you think happens when a cold CEO finds out there's a baby he never knew existed? Stick around for part 2. Trust me, you don't want to miss this.
Part 2. Alpha instincts don't read, they claim. Cold CEO energy meets secret Omega apartment. Yeah, this wasn't going to be smooth. The reply didn't come that night. It came in the morning, like a damn tornado warning. My phone buzzed again, this time with his message preview hovering like a threat wrapped in concern. Where are you? No emojis, no softness, just 2 words that carried more weight than a court summons. I didn't reply right away. Not because I didn't know where I was, but because I knew if I told him, I was inviting a man who only stepped into rooms he intended to dominate. Still, I typed back. At home. Why? His answer hit instantly, like he waited all night, finger locked on send. I'm coming over. What? I hissed. Panic wasn't cute. Panic was expensive. I checked the mirror. This was the face of someone who washed dishes, stretched milk, held pride together with duct tape, and prayed for miracles like Wi-Fi. There was no version of this morning that looked graceful. but he was already on the move. And when he arrived, hell, even from the elevator I could tell the air shifted. Alpha presence wasn't fictional, it was physics. The doorbell rang. Kimmy stirred on my chest, little sleepy eyes opening like she felt everything in the atmosphere change. I opened the door. He stood tall, messy dark hair, eyes sharp like steel, shirt unbuttoned just enough to remind the universe he wasn't the type to apologize for breathing the same air. He looked at me like I was gazing into someone who could crush planets and paperwork equally. And then he looked down at her, Kimmy. Small, soft, pink blanket, hair darker than mine, eyes blinking up at a stranger who had no business looking back like he'd defend her from every villain ever written. His jaw tightened. I could almost hear the realization click into place like a landmine. "Who's the baby?" he asked. I told him the truth, and the truth hit like scent in the sunlight. No bond needed. No romance music, no script transition, just raw fate. I said softly, "Kimmy, my daughter." His gaze stopped blinking. "You kept a kid from me?" he snapped. "She's not yours," I said sharply. "Oh, I don't need paperwork to know what's mine," he muttered under his breath. "I thought an alpha needed a bond to care. Turns out he didn't need a bond to care. He just needed a baby to claim."
Part 3. A scent bond that shouldn't exist. Then came the twist no one saw. Kimmy didn't just look at him, she recognized him through scent. He stepped inside. No asking, no removing shoes, just presence filling every corner of my one-room apartment. The place was small. We were poor. He was offended at my living conditions like cramped space was a personal crime. He didn't say it, but his eyes did. Kimmy stared at him like he was a new upgrade her brain didn't download yet. Then she hiccuped. Cute little baby hiccup. Something in him twitched. His posture changed. Breath slower. Head slightly tilting like a wolf catching something it wasn't expecting. Pupil slightly tightening. Then he took one step closer. 2 steps. I saw the moment, the exact moment his nostrils flared, shoulders relaxed. No, settled. Settled like a man who found territory, not answers. Kimmy blinked up at him, tiny baby energy meeting lethal ACEO aura, like soft meets steel. "She smells like me," he said slowly. "What?" He knelt down. That alone was a visual no one expected from a man who dealt in billions and law firms. He reached for her little hand. She grabbed his finger instantly. Trust. Tiny little heart trust that Omegas rarely got from society. His expression softened the smallest amount, small enough to avoid emotional vulnerability allegations, big enough to shift galaxies. "She is mine," he whispered. "No, she's not," I answered, voice low. "Watch me prove it," he muttered. He lifted her gently. That gentle moment, that was more dangerous than his anger, because anger could be negotiated with distance. Gentleness, that was possession finalized. He doesn't just think she's his, he's about to prove it. What do you think an alpha does when instincts say a baby is his, even though logic says no? Part 4 drops with receipts and heartbreak. Don't scroll away.
Part 4. Receipts, DNA tests, and emotional chaos. DNA tests, lawyers, and baby formula deliveries before breakfast, classic alpha problem solving. He carried her to the couch, like it was casual, like baby formula and bonded scent were items you could buy at CVS. "You're broke," he said bluntly. "Yeah, and?" "There's no world where my pup lives like this," he muttered. He called someone. Not a personal friend. A lawyer, obviously, because alphas don't pull feelings, they pull leverage. Within hours, his people rolled in. 1 DNA kit, one lawyer, an assistant holding designer baby gear like it was an emergency press conference. I stared as expensive baby tins, clothes, toys, blankets, and formula filled my apartment like a wealth explosion none of us applied for. "Look, man, we don't need charity," I snapped. "It's not charity if it's mine," he replied. The DNA test confirmed it. Kimmy was his. Not by bond, not by request, not by ceremony, but by fate. And suddenly, my biggest fear wasn't hunger. It was how the hell you co-parent a man who wasn't ready to face the emotions he'd suppressed like old emails. He wasn't ready to be a father. But now that instinct picked him, he's not ready to let us go. Do you think this is love or pure alpha instinct possession? Part 5 cracks that open, trust me.
Part 5. Hurt, comfort, and a 1% chance of forgiveness. Not all storms sound loud. Some storms sit beside you on a couch and whisper, "I'm not leaving." The next chapter wasn't loud. It was quiet. Quiet like healing after you've cried enough to drain reservoirs. He watched me feed Kimmy properly. The correct thickness, the correct instructions, the correct nutrition. His eyes lingered on me longer than needed. And that was new, because he wasn't my responsibility anymore in my brain. But apparently I was in his instincts. "You could have told me about her," he said softly. "I left before I knew anything," I answered, voice rough. Silence filled the room again. Not awkward silence, dangerous silence. The kind that feels like a fuse burning down to the moment where you admit something that changes your universe. He sat beside me. Didn't touch, didn't claim, just presence. "I'm not leaving this time," he whispered. "No promises," I muttered. "Little chance or not," he said, "I'm taking that shot." Logically, I know I shouldn't give him another chance. But emotionally, there's a little chance I just might. Would you forgive a man who's back because instinct chose you and your child? Final part tomorrow. Don't miss it.
He claimed us through instincts, kept us through presence, and stayed because a baby believed him first. A month passed. No dramatic battle, no explosive confession. Just a man who wakes up earlier now to warm bottles, not cold contracts. He learned to say mine, softly around her, not like a threat, more like a vow no court could revoke. I learned that vulnerability didn't always mean weakness. Sometimes vulnerability was the checksum that even cold hearts couldn't ignore. Sometimes survival writes love better than fan fiction ever could. Kimmy trusted him instantly. Maybe that's how you know something is real. Not when adults agree, but when a baby does. A mistake sent the message. A small chance brought him back. And now he's not leaving without his family.